We have a couple items to discuss before closed session. The first item is the Pinehurst Traffic Circle plantings, and Mr. Batten will take this.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. As you have read in the memorandum that I provided, traffic circle plantings traditionally have been managed and paid for by the North Carolina Department of Transportation. They have informed me that the federal funding that they used for that purpose is gone away. That as it stands right now, they do not have funds budgeted as replacement for those federal funds lost. And this traffic circle planting this fall will be the last one NCDOT is able to do unless the state ultimately replenishes those funds from a different source other than the federal dollars. So I'm bringing this before you now because if we wish to have the spring traffic circle plantings, flowers, then I need that direction now because we have to go ahead and put a contract in place to grow the flowers. We can't source that many from a variety of greenhouses and whatnot. We have to contract to have them grown and contract to have them planted. So if this is something that council wants to have continuing at the traffic circle going forward, we would bring back a budget amendment at the next meeting to secure the funds for us to be able to do the spring planting, and then we would plan for a fall and spring planting in FY24 during the SOP development, our strategic operating plan budget development process. Estimated cost right now, I think the maximum of what I put up there is $20,000. I think we'd probably be coming in less than that in reality. I have gone ahead and taken the liberty to put together a proposal and send out to prospective greenhouses so that I would have the bids back, the quotes back, soon enough that we could pull the trigger if you ultimately decided to adopt this budget amendment. I didn't want to get further into the fall without being able to pull the trigger quickly after you potentially would adopt a budget amendment at the next meeting. So that's kind of where we are right now. So entertain any questions that you may have. Other than that, I'm looking for direction as to whether you wish to continue that tradition.
Jeff, from my point of view, I would like to find a way to do this. A couple of questions, however. The 20,000, I understand, is the best estimate, may change up and down. Does that include the labor to install this, or is it just the plants?
Yeah, this would be to grow the plants and remove the fall plantings,
right?
Till and prep the beds, grow the plants, and then install them. It's a turnkey job, yes.
And who would do the planting?
Depending on who won the bid.
Okay,
now, we have done this last time. We've done this one time before. You may recall a couple of years ago. And we ended up with Greenhaven out of Carthage. They were the low bid on the project. And they basically did that turnkey project for us. They took out the old plants, prepped the beds. They grew the flowers over the winter months and then installed them in accordance with the plans that DOT had developed previously. So the design of each of the beds, we are utilizing the NCDOT's drawings previously. So the quantity of plants and everything is already detailed out based on what DOT has done in previous years.
So it's not village staff who are doing the planning. It would be the employees of the contractor.
That's correct.
Okay. And I had a message a couple days ago from a person who saw this on the agenda or saw your question. They were pointing out, and I don't quite understand this, but I pass it on to you to try to navigate. They're saying in certain parts of the circle, entering the circle, that the plants or sometimes too tall or planted in a way that it prevents one from seeing, from the left for the oncoming traffic. I'm not aware of where that really is, but if we're doing that, let's do something to make sure there's a clear view.
Right. Under DOT standards,
Yeah.
the height is a consideration that is taken into account. I'm not sure because of site triangles.
Right.
Where exactly that obstruction could be, but I don't discount their question or comment.
Okay, yeah, good. Other questions from council on this subject?
Yeah, I've
Matt?
got a few. I'm curious of the history of the funding of this. They indicated the federal funding used to pay for flower plantings at Traffic Circle. How long was federal funding paying for this?
I couldn't answer that question, Pat. The only thing I can tell you that is what I was informed, is that the federal funding has gone away. And
So they never funded it. It was the federal government funding this, as far as we know.
that would be my understanding just
I'm
based on that
curious of what's
conversation.
going on
Yeah.
with them on this. I can't help but see a little humor in this, is that the very people who would like to pave over the traffic circle are now saying you're on your own for putting some nice plantings there. I think one of the things that are most attractive about that circle is people comment how beautiful the plantings are. I mean, it's just baffling to me. I have observed, and I can't remember where getting onto that circle one time, there was a tree or a bush that made me have to edge out a little. Okay, I can't remember where it was, and I didn't think much of it other than I was being extra careful. So I don't know where it was, but so your person may have been experienced what I did.
If there is such a place, it might be the coming southbound on 15501 into the circle. Something sticks in my mind there about that entrance. And especially if you're in the left lane, the lane to take you into the circle, not to exit at the next.
I understand what you're talking
Anyway, they'll figure that out. Other points or questions for Jeff?
There aren't any trees or bushes in those triangles.
Well, I think it's the way the plants sometimes work. Maybe it's an issue of the fall plants versus spring plants or whatever.
Are there any native grasses in there? Because I think, it seemed like the concern was the native grass. And native grass, have there ever been native grass, no native grasses?
No, I can recall in past, the taller plants that I can recall being out there were canna lilies at one time. But that's been a few years back, but I don't discount what somebody's.
It's all the planting. It's nothing to do with any permanent trees or anything there. It's when
I've
a
never
planting
noticed
is
an
done.
issue, but
You'll
I
figure it
also
out.
drive a pickup truck, which is sits up kind of high. So there are differences between that and
Well, that's-
Everybody
sports
everybody needs
car.
to drive a pickup truck.
Right.
I mean,
Okay, we'll talk about that.
One other.
Put that in municipal code.
One,
Yeah.
I had one other item about, I'll skip it. I am curious about the history of the funding and, I know what. If they're saving some, I know what. It just dawned on me what I'm interested in. If they're going to save all this money by not having to pick up the cost, and we will, ask them if they can splurge a little to get that Pinehurst sign that they painted over, like with spray paint, okay, and it looks so tacky. Ask them if they can fix that up.
Aren't we expecting that to happen?
They'll get it.
They'll
yeah,
get
I
to
think
it.
they are
Yeah.
intending to, but I'll ask what the
Yeah, I
status
mean,
of that is.
if you hit that with your lights at night, you're wondering who did the paint job. I mean, really. So,
That's the one that directs you on to NC2,
yeah,
right?
now I understand the
Or
reason.
what used to be NC2.
Correct. They
And
took
I
our
understand
number.
the
off.
reason is a good reason, but they really ought to do
Yeah,
a
they,
better job. All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Jeff Batten on this?
Get the plans.
All right, so actually, we don't have anything to discuss.
Not
You're
a
just gonna
budget
go on from
amendment
there.
now. I'll bring one forth to you
Yep.
at the next meeting.
That's fine.
We didn't
All right.
prepare one in case you
Are
decide.
there any
to.
other work session items tonight or any future agenda items for the work session? I'm developing a list of a few things, but I'll pass that on. Did you have something
The only
for future consideration?
future consideration is all I have, and obviously I mentioned before was with the I'd like to discuss the Neighborhood Advisory Committee world.
No.
And I'd also like to discuss the process for the appointments of individuals to our advisory committees. I think we just need to have a discussion of how that works. I'm not positive how it works. I got a good idea, but I just think it's a worthwhile topic for a council discussion since we end up appointing folks, voting on them. I have no problem with anyone I voted on, so it's not about any person. It's a process thing in my mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other suggestions for future work sessions?
Traffic circle.
Hearing none. Is there a motion to recess the work session and move to a closed session?
I move to recess the work session and enter a closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute, Section 143-318-11A5, to establish or to instruct the public body staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract or proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease.
Second.
There's a motion by Lydia Bosch with a second from Pat Pizzella. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Lydia
Hearing none.
does that well. She should do it every time.
Yeah.
I think
Here-
you probably memorized it.
Hearing none, we'll move to the closed session. We'll have a few minutes of
All the jobs, Lydia.